What's going on, everybody? How you doing? This is United vs. Everybody. I'm your host, Sean. We are back today to do a little bit of a deep dive video. You guys know I like to do these scouting reports, these deep dive videos on players we've been linked to, players I think will be a good fit. But I do them mostly to give you guys context so you guys can tell me what you think about them. Do you think they'll be a good fit? And that's what we're doing today. Because United's midfield situation could be in a bit of a tricky situation coming this summer. Ruben Amorim's system, one midfielder tends to be more of a physical presence, like a shield and maybe the muscle in the middle of the park. The other one tends to be entrusted with a little bit of that holding, press resistance, beating that first press, playmaking responsibilities, right? Ball progression. Currently, Bruno Fernandes occupies the role of the latter, right? He's that playmaker, he's that quarterback, bringing that a lot of that playmaking to a deeper midfield role, the playmaking that he's known for, with mixed results, right? Not everyone's too happy with him. He obviously is not his natural position. He is lacking in some of that because he's a 10. He's not a 6 kind of a thing. We know that. It's academic at this point. But I think after some serious links to Saudi clubs in the summer, Bruno's future at Old Trafford is still a bit of a question mark for a lot of us, me included. I still can't count on him being here next year. We don't know. Casemiro currently contract running out, could be leaving. Menu, jury's out whether or not he's up for the task. He's definitely not a playmaker. He's definitely more of I'm going to receive the ball off the defenders, beat that first press, drive it up the pitch. I also see him maybe potentially being a little higher up the pitch as well. And Ugarte just doesn't have the playmaking at all. So today we're talking about a playmaker, a midfielder who's all over the radar. He's on everyone's nips. He's all over the rumor mill, linked to a lot of top clubs. Someone I think could be an excellent, perfect fit in that role in Bruno's absence. And that's obviously, of course, today we're talking about Angelo Stiller. So we're going to do a deep dive. I want you guys to let me know what you think. Let's get stuck in, you guys, because we're going to have fun today. So if you aren't familiar with Angelo Stiller, here's a bit of a snapshot of the player. Plays for VfB Stuttgart in the Bundesliga. He is a center midfield / 6, I guess you can call it. He's a deep line playmaker, right? He's 24 years old, 6 foot, so he's a built guy, but he's got excellent press resistance. His passing range is elite. His vision, his positioning, his chance creation, the guy does it all. He's a really good player. For a lot of football fans, Stiller popped up on their radar last season. And for good reason. He was a standout for Stuttgart, played a key role in their run to the DFB Pokal final, which they won, by the way, which is why they're currently in Europe. In Stuttgart, they play either with like a 4-2-3-1 or 3-4-2-1 at times, but Stiller takes up that left-sided role in midfield because he's left-footed, right? Which is where Bruno tends to play. From that position, Stiller's role is to control tempo, beat that initial opposition press, dictate possession, create opportunities for his teammates, while he always seems to be able to find the open space to make himself an option as well to receive the ball. He's got excellent vision, again, that passing range, and that makes him an excellent deep line playmaker. He's always looking to receive the ball and find a way to get it up the pitch. I've seen him called the next Toni Kroos, if that gives you any idea of what maybe his profile is. If you're not familiar, I'd also compare him to like prime Cesc Fabregas as well in that regard. I think that's a really good comparison as well. What Stiller lacks a little bit of, though, is that physicality. He's not that destroyer. He's not, his defensive numbers are not great. We'll look at that in a little bit, which is what makes some fans maybe a little hesitant to trust his adaptability to the Premier League. The Premier League is physical. A lot of the matches are won or lost with that midfield battle. So it does make people a little hesitant. Now, just because you don't put in a tackle doesn't mean you're not physical enough. It just, sometimes you're better at interceptions. Sometimes you don't need to. Sometimes you beat the press. Who knows? But I think that we all know it's physical. Even Sonny Lamans recently lamented, it's a surprise at the physicality in the Premier League, this kind of things that players get away with in the Premier League, stuff you don't get away with in other leagues. And so I trust Angelo Stiller's press resistance, but I think he's probably going to want to hit the gym a little bit if he wants to play in England, but that's okay. He'll definitely need a physical player beside him, someone like an Elliot Anderson, maybe Conor Gallagher, maybe João Gomez if Wolves are still shit by the next year. But Stiller's really, really good. 5 times Team of the Week last season in the Bundesliga. He had 1 goal, 8 assists, ninth in the league last season for assists, 4 goals, 11 assists in all comps last season because they were playing as well in different cup competitions. He was the 8th top-rated Bundesliga player last year, 7th for big chances created from a playmaking role. From a deeper role, he was 7th in the league for chances created. The guy knows how to get that ball up the pitch. Let's look at his heat map and see where he does a lot of the damage. So you can see pretty much operates on that left-hand side in his own half, well inside the opposition half, takes the corners as well, again, because he's got that ability on the ball. He's going to do that. He trusts himself. I trust him. He knows when to get forward. He knows when to hang back. He knows where the space is at all times. He's got footballing IQ that's on a completely different level. Now let's compare this heat map to players that played an amorim system at Sporting a couple of years ago when Amorim was there. I'm talking about Merida and Morten Holman. Again, very similar heat maps. Like Holman's is almost a mirror image of Stiller. So again, I think he would suit the way that Amorim wants his midfielders to play as well. You could argue it's the Portuguese league, it is what it is, but Amorim has his players where he wants them to play, and this is where they play. And this year, Stiller has already got 1 goal, 4 assists in all comps. He's already 8th for big chances created as well. So he's doing very, very well. So how does the numbers then, we saw the heat map, how do the numbers compare to other midfielders? So, sorry, this is where Bruno plays right now. So I meant to put that up there. Yeah, Bruno kind of, again, it's very similar heat map. This is Bruno's heat map this season. So again, if you extrapolate that for a whole season, it's going to look very similar to what Stiller's looks like. But again, very similar heat maps. Stiller's numbers. Again, when it comes to getting that ball forward, to playing that ball forward, to creating opportunities for his team, the assists and everything, he's literally almost elite. Top 2% for assists, for progressive passes, top 3% for the pass attempts. He's well above average in literally every ball progression stat you can have. You know, it's elite almost. Now, again, the defending is where he is a little lacking. The tackles, again, I don't mind too much tackles because the interceptions are actually just a little below average, which is fine. Like he could do better in that regard, but it's fine. If you look at other midfielders, as we're going to look at in a second, we'll see how he stacks up. But again, ball progression, chance creation, like the guy is amazing. Compare him to Bruno Fernandes. Now, Bruno's in the red, Stiller's in the blue. You can see now, when it comes to that pass completion, Stiller's got Bruno beat by a mile. Even tackles, Stiller's got Bruno beat by a mile. You can see down there at the bottom of the screen there. Now, where Bruno does have a beat is, you know, the goals and things like that. He's going to score a little bit more because Bruno is more of an attack-minded midfielder. And you can see that has a lot to do with why Bruno's also got Stiller beat on progressive passes received, because he's in more advanced positions. And that's just the way it works. We can see very similar in a lot of metrics, but I do think that Stiller's definitely got him beat when it comes to passing the ball and moving it forward. Compare him to Adam Wharton, another midfielder that we've been linked to. You can see, so Stiller's in blue, Wharton in red. Stiller's literally got Adam Wharton beat in pretty much everything aside for combined tackles and interceptions. Again, Stiller's just not defensive minded. Now he can put in a shift. There's no problem. He can get stuck in, but he's just not going to be doing it as much, which is why you need someone next to him. I think that it would be, for me, it would be either Wharton or Stiller. I don't think you get both and it works. I think you need someone like Anderson next to Stiller, like I said earlier. But again, very, very good when it comes to ball progression, almost elite when it comes to ball progression, especially when you compare him to some of the other midfielders that we've been linked to and some of the midfielders that we have at the club currently. So now we get to the big question for United fans. Do you think Angelo Stiller makes, like, do you think him coming to United, do you think that makes sense? Is it, once bitten, twice shy when it comes to Bundesliga players? I know that Shinji Kagawa didn't exactly do excellently when he was here. Mkhitaryan, mixed results. Jadon Sancho, mixed results. Now we pulled De Ligt and Mazraoui from the Bundesliga, and they're both really excelling. And I think it has a lot to do with the mentality. The other players that we got, they were very techie. They were very gifted on the ball. The mentality wasn't quite there, I think, with Sancho for sure. I think that Stiller definitely has an elite mentality when it comes to getting stuck in, when it comes to resilience, when it comes to just fight. I think that Stiller's got it. Do you worry about it as maybe the physicality aspect? Do you worry that the tackle, the interceptions, because they're not quite as good as maybe some of the other players in that role, that would hurt him? I think that, it depends on what's more important to you, if that in that role, the physicality or the ball progression. Because if you've got someone next to him like an Elliot Anderson or somebody, I think that, that does do a lot as well. Perhaps you have another player that you prefer to see in that role. I don't know. You guys let me know if there's another option you prefer. And then what happens too if Bruno stays another year and we miss out on someone like Angelo Stiller? I mean, does that change our transfer plans altogether? Is this all a moot point? Who knows? Stuttgart have reportedly slapped a 50 million euro price tag on Stiller because he's getting a lot of attraction from a lot of clubs. Now this is also assuming, because the way contracts are these last couple years is weird, but the 50 million euro price tag is assuming that Stuttgart activate a special clause that enables them to buy out his release clause. So he has a release clause that kicks in this summer 2026, of 35 million. Now Stuttgart have the option to purchase that release clause for 2 million. So they can, instead of losing him for 35, they can spend 2 and perhaps slap that 50 million price tag on him. So I know it's weird. Word on the street is, though, the competition for Stiller's signature is intense right now. Stuttgart are going to be set for a major windfall no matter what. They bought him for just over 5 million from Hoffenheim a few years ago, so they're going to make a lot of money. Heavily linked to Real Madrid. I don't know why. How many midfielders does that club want? They can only field 11 players, right? Madrid, I don't get that whatsoever, but it is what it is. Between Bellingham, Valverde, all these guys, I don't know where he's not going to play, and that's the thing that I think that most players need to keep in mind. Where are you going to get game time? If Casemiro leaves, if Bruno leaves, you're getting game time at United. You probably get more game time with us than anywhere else. I've seen him tip for a potential return for Bayern Munich as well, where he played in his academy days and his reserve days. Of course, we'll all be watching Stiller's status intently as the summer draws near. Those rumor mills are going to heat up. Transfer talk's going to heat up. In doing so, we're also going to be watching the situation with Casemiro and Bruno as well, because that could also, again, their situation, their future could impact our transfer business for good or bad. It really doesn't matter. So I think one thing is for sure, though, Stiller's due for a step up, and I think it's almost a given that he will get it this summer. The question mark is just going to be, where does he go? Who needs him? Where do you see him going? Honestly, United, he would fit us like a glove, in my opinion. We need someone like him more than I think other clubs do. I'm literally thinking as I'm saying this, I can't think of any other clubs where he's going to go in who don't already have just a packed midfield. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think he really fits in? Do you think that he would complement the league? Do you think he would complement a player like Anderson alongside of him? Anderson and Stiller together would probably cost you, I would say, maybe between 120 to 130, depending on how Forest end up doing this season. So is that a good price for two midfielders? We spent that on two attackers in Mbeumo and Cunha. Could we just go ahead and do that, get our midfield wrapped up and sorted, and not have to worry about it? You guys let me know your thoughts. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check those memberships as well. And then go and get involved in the WhatsApp group, Starting 11 Legends members. So take it easy, guys. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. I will see you guys on the next one. Later.